What's good, Danger Zone Boxing Talk? It's your boy BC Left Hook, back with another edition of the Final Bell with my co-host, as always, Twine B. Liberty. Tonight, we are honored to have BWTM Sports, Ingram Jones, one of the better interviewers in the game. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, he's interviewed everyone from Tyson Fury to someone in Deontay Knowles' camp. I don't remember their exact name.
The manager.
Okay, yes. And also, once again, we're pleased to have a former guest, and we're going to have him on again Wednesday night, Pal Salud. Ingram, you want to go ahead, or wait, Twine, do you want to say anything before we let our guests introduce themselves?
No, go ahead. Definitely let them introduce themselves.
Okay. We'll start with Ingram. You go ahead.
Okay, so I've been doing boxing for almost 10 years, doing commentary and interviews from around the world. A lot of the guys that we try and talk to at first before they become undisputed champions. So you can check us out, BWTM Sports. And also we do not only sports, entertainment, news, current affairs. We're doing an advocacy program at the moment. So there's a lot of writing and a lot of issues on our island of Grenada. So we're doing a lot of stuff with a lot of injustice on the island, working with the police force and stuff like that. So that's bwtm.com. So just check it out. Everything's there, bwtm.com. It's all there. You check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, Instagram. It's all there.
Awesome. And Pal, you want to give us the rundown again of where we can find you and follow you on social media?
Sure. A pleasure to always be here. Pal Salud. I run Podcast Sports. We have a website, podcastsports.com. We have a Facebook. We have all social media. So we focus on boxing, primarily Asian or Filipino boxing. But of course, we talk about international boxing as well. And pleasure to be here. Podcast Sports is the website, and on all platforms, it's just the same.
Amen. And Pal's actually pretty big over there, because I caught another podcast, and they were speaking highly of you, saying you're the man, you're the legend. So congratulations on that, man. I don't remember the name of it, but they were pretty good too. I'd have to get them on sometime. I think Fight something. They were pretty cool, man. But we're glad to have you guys on tonight. And once again, we're going to bring a dish to the bell. Yes, go ahead. What'd you say, Pal?
Yeah, it's Fight Sports Manila. When everyone was doing, it's Podcast Sports. Fight Sports Manila was the interviewee. So.
Yeah, it looked like you guys had a fun time. Well, tonight we're going to go over some topics. The first thing we're going to start with is Miguel Berchelt. We've seen him move up to 135. Took on a journeyman fighter by the last name of Venezuela. Is that right? But it was more of a glorified sparring session. Funny fact, it doesn't even count because it was a no contest, because sports aren't even legal yet in Mexico. So basically, they both got paid for a nice sparring session. So we'll start off. Twine, what did you think of the fight, and what do you think of his prospects in the 135 division? Because he says after he fights Valdez, he's going to move up to 135. And he's looking to get the winner of Lopez and Lomachenko.
It's your typical stay busy fight, coming off this break. Of course, everything has been at catch weights or guys fighting above their normal weights recently, as far as the top ranked cards. So I wasn't necessarily expecting to see, I guess, a highlight performance. I thought it would have ended sooner. He actually did have to work a little bit with this journeyman. Mm-hmm. But, it turned out to be what it was. A lot of people look down on it as far as, him getting hit a lot and, in a fight. But, that's always been Berchelts' style. He's willing to take a blow to get his couple in. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't necessarily surprised about, him getting touched up a little bit in the fight. I've kind of known this for a while that he was moving up. Like, if you see him walking around outside of his, fight week, like, he probably walks around at middleweight, super middleweight. Like, he's a big dude. But as far as his prospects at 130 right now, like we talked about the Oscar Valdez matchup, And I kind of think he'll kill Oscar, even with the lackluster performance that he had last week. I still think he dominates Oscar. As far as his prospects at 135, I think we'll be able to get a real glimpse of what he's about there. He's fighting with guys that are bigger, will probably be bigger than him in size and walk around the same weight as him outside of the ring. But just seeing how they deal with his pace, as far as once he moves up to 135, there's not a lot of real pressure guys at 135, high volume guys right now. So, I'm looking forward to seeing him at that weight, and we'll be able to distinguish him, a lot more compared to what he's fought at 130.
Okay. Start with Ingram. Ingram, what do you think of the fight? And then what do you think of his prospects in the 135-pound division?
I'll be honest. I've got a rule. If I didn't see the fight, I don't comment on it. So I didn't see the fight, so I can't comment on it. So I passed.
Okay. Did you watch it, pal?
Yeah, I did. I have a Top Rank subscription here in the Philippines, so I get, if not all, most of the Top Rank show. And so I watched this fight, and to be honest with you, I think Miguel Berchelt was pacing it, because it would look bad if he take this guy down in the first or the first 3 rounds. So he's kind of using, taking some time before he can really fully unleash his arsenal of punches. So I don't see that's a real fight. Plus, you said it's no Mexican commission supervising the fight. I am more interested on that event because there's 6 judges. I don't know if you know, 6 judges for the fight, for the event. But for his prospect, I think he would do good in the higher division. It's not small, and he has a lot of offensive power. So I think he would do good against the Oftes. And
okay, I think I'm gonna be in the minority here. I don't think he's gonna do very well at 135. Now, there's some guys that he could beat, of course. I'd love to see him fight Ryan Garcia, but he's always been a high volume puncher who don't knock you out with one punch. It's the accumulated beating that he gives you. But I don't think that we saw the power at 135. And this guy had just got TKO'd by a prospect in 2 rounds before that. So my thing with Berchelt is I would much rather see him stay at 130 because there's easy fights to be made there. Shakur Stevenson, who's moving up, he's already said that the fight with Warrington's not going to materialize, and that he's going to move up to 130. That's an easy fight to make because I believe they're both promoted by Top Rank. So that's an easy fight, in-house fight to make. I think Shakur wins. But it's a good test for Shakur, and if Berchelt was able to beat him, that's a huge name to go on his resume. You want to close out that what I just talked about, Twine? I seen Ingram has something to say, so we'll go to him after we talk with Twine real quick.
Let's go ahead and kick it to Ingram first, and I'll go ahead and close it out.
Okay, no problem.
I was going to say, I didn't watch the fight, but there is a thing about fighters that usually use their weight and their physicality and are big for one weight. You find that when they move up to another weight, if they're using their physical strength to bully guys, when they move up in weight and do the same thing, they're not as effective because they've been using that advantage in the smaller weight divisions. As they move up in weight, maybe 4 or 5 pounds, then they've got guys who are coming from higher weight divisions dropping down, fighting, and the same physicality they've got. If they're not skilled enough, they find themselves getting overpowered. Like a good example of that is someone like Kell Brook. Very physical, very strong as a welterweight. Now you move up to light middleweight. You got guys like Herd and the other guys who are big guys. You can't impose yourself in the same way. So unless your skill set matches that physical strength you've got, you start to have problems as you move up against better skilled opponents that can and who are strong enough to maintain themselves in a fight, and you're no longer able to bully them. You understand? So Hatton had that problem as well. A light welterweight, very physically strong, bully his opponents, push you up against the ropes. As soon as you got to welterweight now, guys able to push him off and hit him back, and punches have a bit more effect, a bit more of a sting. So this gentleman, I haven't seen him fight, but if he goes along the lines of what I've just said, then he's going to struggle in the higher weight divisions. As with any fighter, that depends on physical strength alone.
We seen the dude he was fighting early in the fight. He was able to put Berchelts on the back foot. He ate a lot of them punches, and he was trying to bully him, smother his work, because Berchelts a pressure fighter, and he's a high volume puncher. So he tried to get right up on him, get his head in his shoulder, and he was able to put him on the back foot for a while and caught him with some shots. I just don't like Berchelts' prospects at 135.
Well, if that's happening to him against a guy that's not highly rated, that's a bad sign moving forward against the top quality guys in the division. If that's happened to you there and you're getting whacked up there, what's going to happen when you've got somebody who's got the intention to take your head off? And I always look at things like that in boxing, and it always concerns me when you see guys moving up when they're getting tagged and hit with shots. They shouldn't be getting hit with against guys that are not that good, or they're meant to be steamrolling over or walking through, because you're getting resistance at that level. What's going to happen when you get a world-class opponent that's got the physical strength and the punching power to put you on the back foot? You're a knockout waiting to happen.
Agreed.
Sorry.
No, I agree with you. Twine.
The thing I see about him, why I probably think a little bit more highly about his prospects at 135 is like you got an exodus happening at that weight, happening. Haney's said he's only had 2 more fights at the weight. Teofimo, of course, he's probably got 1 or 2 fights left at the weight. These are big guys.
Mm-hmm.
For once, I guess I'm interested in seeing him as well, because he'll be like an average sized person at that, at the weight class as far as his height and reach. There's guys that are, like Luke Campbell, that are bigger than him now. Devin Haney, they're bigger and taller than him. So I'm interested in seeing that, as far as the size difference, because he's been bigger than most of his opponents other than Francisco Vargas at 130. That was the only guy that matched him as far as reach and height as far as 130. But you want to go ahead and kick it to the next topic? I'll go ahead and go into it since we're talking 135 now. We have a little bit of news as far as we thought we were going to see Luke Campbell versus Javier Foetuna for an interim title matchup, but it's looking like it's going to be Devin Haney versus Luke Campbell. A fight that Eddie Hern has been trying to materialize for a long time, and it's looking like that's going to be the one we're going to see. So I guess let me get everybody's opinion on the prospects of this fight. I'll go to Ingram first because all his reaction has got me dying over here. And I'm wondering if he feels the same way I'm feeling. So let me go ahead and kick it to you, Ingram.
All right. I guess what we're going to get in the UK is the usual daring to be great. Luke Campbell fought well against Lomachenko BS. Now, look, I like Luke Campbell. I think the guy's very skilled. I think he's a very good fighter. I thought he did very well against Lomachenko, okay? But I felt that in that fight, there was an opportunity for him to step on the gas and really do more damage to Lomachenko. He didn't sense the moment. And now I think, to me, Luke Campbell's a guy that's fighting, who's scared of his own shadow. A guy like Devin Haney that's explosive like that, no, sorry. This for me is a mismatch. It's a mismatch. And this is typical Eddie Hern throwing his fighters under the bus, offering them it's a world title fight. If you don't take this fight, it's the end of your career. Throw you under a bus and so you get completely steamrolled, and you get the fans in there that don't know about boxing, that go to watch a fight. Yeah, Luke Campbell can become a world champion tonight. He's going to get steamrolled. That's what will happen. He might put up a gallant fight for a few rounds, but I just feel Haney's going to really, really beat him up in there. and which is and you watch already where as soon as Luke Campbell gets touched to his body, he's like a glass body. As soon as you hit him to the body, he's ready to go over. So God knows what's going to happen when Devin Haney catches him. It's typical Eddie Hern. Roll out the carpet for you to get absolutely pummeled. That's what it is. Sorry, but that's what it is. Paper massacre. That's what happens. That is Eddie Hern. Sorry, that's what it is. And that's why I don't tune into most of them fights, because they're just garbage. Sorry.
You heard it from the UK. The live and direct. Let me go ahead and kick it to Pal. What do you think about the prospects of this fight, and do you have it being a whitewash the same way that Ingram does?
Well, you know what? I watch a lot of Top Rank here, and if Ingram has watched a lot of Top Rank, he might probably say with Bob Arum, because the earlier fight and the Mexican fight for Top Rank, it's also all one-sided, lopsided fights. So you'll probably be upset as well. The fight between Luke Campbell and Devin Haney, I think this is a good opportunity for Luke Campbell to kind of just step up, because of course his last fight he lost against Lomachenko. He did say he did something a little bit okay there in that fight, but I think it's an opportunity, because he doesn't want to look like a stepping stone here, because that's what it's looked like is going to happen. David Haney is just going to probably going to win. For me, he has 70% chance of winning done. But Luke Campbell still got a pretty decent record, so it looks good on the general public still. But those who knows boxing knows that David Haney has a upper hand here. But I think there's still a chance for Luke Campbell to put up a decent fight. But ultimately, it's a Devin Haney show.
The patsy. He's there to make Devin Haney look good.
All right. What's your take on the man?
I think that the fight's going to be close early on when they're, getting used to each other's rhythm, timing, trying to get the timing on each other out. Once that takes place, I look for about the fourth round for Devin Haney to take over. And once he does take over, I expect Devin Haney to end the show. He's a bigger puncher than Lomachenko. So I think that he's going to end the show with a brutal knockout. But here's the thing. This is a golden opportunity for Luke Campbell, because I don't think there's going to be anybody outside of the UK believe that he can win this fight. And if he was able to, he put up a good showing against Lomachenko. His showing against Lomachenko is part of the reason that I believe Lopez can beat Lomachenko.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I was going to say something there about Campbell, and it cleared my mind. So sorry, go ahead.
Well, see, he was able to touch Lomachenko, and that's part of the reason I believe that Lopez can beat Lomachenko, and I think he will. I've went on record and said that I'm taking Lopez, but this is a golden opportunity for Luke Campbell. Devin Haney, while having not beaten anybody, has a name, just like a Ryan Garcia who hasn't beaten anybody and has a name. So if you can beat one of these guys, immediately your name will just start jumping up in people's minds.
Watch this fight, yeah. Watch this fight. Luke Campbell is smart. They're using the name. Luke Campbell, good business. Luke Campbell coming off a loss to Lomachenko, right? He's come off a loss. Inactivity, right? And then they're going to make this matchup now. So you've got a guy whose confidence will be, I think his confidence will be a false sense of security, because Lomachenko isn't a big, he's not a big puncher.
Yeah.
So he's got a false sense of security coming in against Devin Haney. Devin Haney's a puncher, and if you saw every time that Lomachenko went to the body to Campbell, you saw what happened with Campbell. Okay, Campbell's been beaten already a few times. It's not like he got beaten by a guy who was it Mendy? I think it was. Was it Mendy got beat by? So the script is already there. We know the lines already. You got beat by Mendy, who wasn't going to get beat by, and a life and death struggle there. So and then you got a guy like Devin Haney who he passes the eye test. We just need to know if he passes the acid test. I just don't think Luke Campbell can provide that acid test. I think Luke Campbell's got to ask himself some questions anyway. And I think why he's asking himself them questions is going to be at the end of a drubbing. Because I just don't think if you had 2 or 3 fights to prepare for Devin Haney, I think we'd see a different fight. And he hasn't got that. And that's why I think you come off the kind of defeat he's come off. It's a false sense of security for me. Because they think, oh, I did well against Lomachenko, and I hurt Lomachenko, and I did this against Lomachenko. Who Lomachenko myself, I feel, is on the slide. All those fights as an amateur, and then fighting as a pro. So I think he's on the other side of his career, Lomachenko. People will not agree with me, but it seems as he's moved up. He got dropped by what was the guy he got dropped by? Linares, right? Got dropped by Linares. Then think Luke Campbell's not a big puncher. He's not a big puncher, and he's able to back up Lomachenko, make him get hurt, and then you think to yourself, Luke Campbell himself was a fanboy in there. He was fighting Lomachenko like, I'm fighting the great Lomachenko. I'm fighting the great Lomachenko here. This is Lomachenko. Can I sign an autograph quickly? Yeah. And you're fighting like that.
You can throw Corolla in that right there too, because that's how Corolla fought.
Yeah. I'm like, look, don't hit me too hard, because I'm your fan. I mean, and then he's going to go and fight Devin Haney. Thinking from that mentality, I fought Lomachenko. Now you fought like a fanboy against Lomachenko. Takes that mentality into a real fight against a dog that wants to take his head off and wants to prove himself. No. You understand? No, he's going to get absolutely whitewashed. Sorry. Pardon
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think this is an interesting fight right now with this timing. Devin Haney's coming off a shoulder injury. Like you said, Luke Campbell, he's been inactive and he's coming off a loss. My thing is, I hope this is his last shot, if this is it. I'm tired of seeing him getting these easy passes to get back to WBC title shots. Like, it seems like he's fought 6 or 7 times for the title already, even though this is his 4th time. But I'm like, three times is supposed to be a charm. Like, you're running out already, dude. So I'm hoping this is his last hurrah. If he doesn't pull it out this time, throw him to the wayside, because it's never going to happen. I don't think Devin Haney is as big of a puncher as people are making him out to be. He has 15 knockouts out of, his 24, 25 fights. So, that kind of leaves something to question. If it's, I think Luke Campbell could take him the distance. Now, as far as just being outclassed, yeah, I definitely think Haney is going to do that, and it'll be a UD. This will be his coming out party. Other than Mason Menard, and Abdullayev, like, nobody really knows much as far as about his opponent. He hasn't been there against somebody of Campbell's caliber, at least in the ring. So this would be a solid defense for him. But with that said, I definitely think Haney ends it in a unanimous decision. I'll probably go 8-4. I'm leaning towards, with Haney taking over after round 5. Campbell will give it a good go the first half of the fight, and the skill and the speed set would just start to take over. Haney's going to take more chances than Loma, especially. So we got to watch out for that. You got anything else you want to add to this one, Malachi, or you want to go to the next one?
No, we'll go ahead and go to the next topic. I think we covered that pretty good.
Okay.
So then, while we're still at 135, there was a report that came out that there has been a fight signed between Javier Foetuna and Jorge Linares. I think this is an excellent fight. A lot of people believe that Linares is on the downturn of his career, which I can't argue with. But this is a really good fight for Javier Foetuna, because this is what I said about Garcia. And why I was so upset, because I like that. I know it may not sound like it all the time, but I like Ryan Garcia. I just want to see Ryan Garcia do more than punch punching bags on Instagram and take model pictures and stop coming up with these excuses for why he can't fight Jorge, why he was supposed to fight Javier. He just keeps coming up with excuse after excuse. I want to see him actually. If you keep telling me you want to be great, well, then go prove to me you want to be great. So I think this is a great opportunity for Foetuna, because if he can beat Linares, that opens up so many doors for him. And I do think he's going to win. But I'm going to start with Pal. What do you think about that fight? And who do you like in it?
Okay, first of all, I just wanted to comment on Ryan Garcia. Greatness comes with a price, and Ryan Garcia, his price, Golden Boy is not giving you the right price. That's his complaint. He probably earned a lot more on his Instagram or on his social media. That's why he won't take a 200,000 fight. Anyway, Javier Foetuna versus Jorge Linares. I think this fight, Foetuna is the one who has the upper hand on this one. It's mainly because Jorge Linares, I don't feel he have fought some good fights in the last few fights. So the wins against the last two fights, I think, is definitely a win for him. So this is a good test if it's really is he really going down, or is he, because from the videos from the training session that I've seen, it looks like he's rejuvenated a little bit.
I've seen those.
But again, this is a top level fight. Yeah, is this a top level fight for him? So he might have an opportunity. He's the bigger guy. I give Linares a chance here, a slim chance. He needs to win this, because if he loses this, it's unfortunate he's not gonna get the Garcia fight. Supposed that too. It was supposed to be him that's being matched up against Ryan Garcia. That's a bigger money fight. So he needs to win this one. This is one of the I would say a good fight that he's been matched up with than the last two fights. So but it's Javier Foetuna is gonna win here, but probably by decision.
All right, Ingram, what do you have to say on this fight?
Well, I'm going with Foetuna. These guys at low weights get older. Durability. These guys are quite vulnerable to getting knocked out in fights sensationally. You think a guy's got good durability, and either they don't make the weight right, or you never know with these guys when they're older what you're getting, especially in the lower weight divisions. Don't know why it is, but as they get older, it's more difficult for them to make the weight. Their durability is not the same. Their stamina doesn't seem the same for most of them. And then when they get clipped, they don't take the shot the same way. So at any given time, once you see a fight like that, moving not like he used to, and he's on the other side of his career, at any point in time, it's particularly in the low weight divisions, guys that can go at any time. So I would go Foetuna, because obviously that's a guy that's younger and fresher and all the rest of it.
And if you talk with the trainers and the fighters, they'll all tell you that, at least the ones I speak to, they'll tell you that Linares is looking like he's on the down end of his career, and he cannot handle pressure. So I think I'm going to take Foetuna. I think he might stop Linares. Lomachenko, who's not a big puncher, was able to stop him. I know it was a body shot, but still he was able to stop him. I like Foetuna. I think it's possible that he's going to end up stopping Jorge. We'll go to try.
I mean, like everyone says, Linares is on his downside. Like he's an old 34. 50 plus fights. Especially at lower weight classes. I mean, they go at it hard, and like he's been in some wars. As far as Foetuna's style, like he's always been more of a slickster and tricky person to figure out in the ring, and he's given most of his opponents a lot of trouble. I think his movement and craftiness is going to trouble Linares, and he's going to end up embarrassing him. I don't necessarily see a knockout, but it's possible. Linares has been knocked out at lower weights, and Foetuna does have a big enough punch to where he could put him down. But I just think it's going to be it's going to look like a showcase fight for Foetuna. I actually feel bad for him because I wanted to see him do the same thing to Luke Campbell. That was what I was hoping before this big mix-up happened as far as Haney getting the fight now, or Campbell fighting Haney for the title. But like this is supposed to be for the Diamond Light title, whatever that is. Another one of those made-up belts by the WBC. But I'm expecting probably a UD, and it's gonna look like he's just outclassing Linares, and Linares is gonna look his age in this fight.
Can I make a point about Ryan Garcia?
Mm-hmm.
Any man that has to keep referring to his Instagram page and how many followers he's got is a sure sign of a guy that can't fight. That's it. If you have to talk about your Instagram followers and how many Instagram followers you got, you can't fight. That's it. You cannot fight, right? And now probably he's learning to fight now with Canelo's gym. He can't fight. And I know guys that regularly used to beat him up and toast him up all the time in the gym. I used to beat him up a lot in the gym. Remember when Floyd Mayweather Senior
Rolly beat the crap out of him.
What's his name? The guy Floyd Mayweather Senior was with that Zelenoff. I remember Zelenoff hit him with a sucker punch, and that young boy jumped in, and that young man there, he used to beat the crap out of Ryan Garcia because he was in England. He was telling me all the stories about how Ryan Garcia used to get beat up in the gym all the time. If you talk about Instagram followers, you're not a fighter. You're a businessman. You're not a fighter. You understand?
Yeah, I agree.
If you're that good, you take that step of fight already.
I agree because I've been on Ryan's. Like I said, I like Ryan. I think he's a good kid. It's just that, like, he put out a video yesterday where he punched one of the Paul brothers in the stomach and seemed like is that supposed to impress me? Yeah. Go fight Jorge. That'll impress me. You know what I mean? That, and then everything that you're telling everybody, it'll be backed up. He beats Jorge, it opens the door to bigger fights. And Jorge, I think he can beat Linares because people say Linares can't deal with pressure. I don't think Foetuna is the type of fighter that's going to put the pressure style on him. I just think he's going to go out there and, like Twine said, outbox him and embarrass him. But I think he's going to catch him.
If Ryan Garcia gets chinned by an unknown guy, that's going to be not only memes on his Instagram page. He keeps talking about Instagram all the time. Think about that. How do you rebuild Ryan Garcia after all that crap he's been talking? Think about it. My Instagram page. What you're going to hear is about his Instagram page and memes of him getting knocked out. Well, you know it's coming. Oh, I know it's coming. It's just when.
All right. Twine, you want to lead us into our next topic?
This is why, guys, it is very important. Just wanted to add real quick. This is, guys, why it's very important for Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia to put up a good match for Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia makes money, and whether we like him or not, he makes a lot of money. He has a lot of following. Even though these are casual fans, these guys would spend to watch him, to see him knock out someone, even if those guys, his opponents, is a nobody. So they will spend some money. And in this day and age, whoever is the popular is now getting a lot more money. So, that's why he's being taken care of. Just
gotta hide the golden goose. That's it. Keep the golden goose quiet.
I think Oscar's tired of hiding him. I think Oscar's tired of hiding him. He already tried to. I mean, he tried to put the boy in there with Foetuna. I think Foetuna beats him. And you've seen the tweets from Oscar. He done already said, "Well, I'm moving on with the next the what we call him, the future star of boxing, Virgil Ortiz," which I think everybody here would agree Ortiz is the much better prospect and the much realer has the much realer chances of becoming a legitimate world champion in boxing. Really, I won't be surprised if Ryan continues down the road he continues on, that Oscar's not going to try to put him in the ring with Rolly and just end his whole hype.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
laughing at him.
I mean, with Ryan, the thing is, you can't fake it till you make it forever. You know, especially when you're seeing all the guys his age that came in at the same time, were considered prospects, same age. These guys are winning world titles already. You know, and he's still being hand-fed fighters. You know, and he was a actually accomplished amateur. So, I mean, you know, people are starting to see through that. You know, and he's getting called out on it. But with that said, we'll go ahead and go into our next topic for tonight. A big one. We have Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who was set to make his comeback fight after previously failing a 3 PED test for his big fight against Anthony Joshua. He now fails again as he was prepared to fight on July 9th with making his debut at Top Rank. Let's get everybody's take on it, man. I'll start off with you, Malachi.
I'm done with him. That's all I'm saying. I'm done with him. And he may get done in. I mean, you can't go around Owen J. Prince. Money, bro. You know, you can't. He bullied Floyd. Aram had to pay him. What do you think? Aram's not gonna pay Jay Prince for Jarrell Miller. You know what I mean? So I'm done with him. It's gonna take a lot for him to redeem himself. He got busted for the same substance. One of the substances of the 3 that you got busted against Anthony Joshua. And I want to say I totally agree with 2K, the god from Three Kings Boxing. I think Miller would have beat Anthony Joshua had Miller not effed up everything and failed the drug test. So I'm done with him. I don't until he comes back and proves himself. I don't want to talk about him no more. So I'm gonna pass it on to Ingram.
Let me put touch on this angle with Ingram. As far as punishment, what do you think needs to happen to him? Because this is like his third time failing.
All right. So when we talk about Big Dummy Miller. All right, so let's talk about Big Dummy Miller. First and foremost, I want to take us back to the Joshua fight. Miller went and did that press conference. Miller's problem started when he opened his mouth and started talking about Joshua's activities, growth hormones and PEDs. And you've got to remember, Anthony Joshua is big business. You know, he's with the Saudis and Middle East. He's got a lot of investment over there. There's a lot of money over there with Anthony Joshua. It's a big investment. And when you start messing around with people's money and start talking about Anthony Joshua saying he's this and that, and if he is on those substances, they don't really want that coming out. Miller opened his mouth a bit too wide and said, right, we need to shut you down real quickly, I think. And this is what happened with this drug situation with Miller. I know he got caught as a kickboxer, but this is what I suspected happened with Miller. Because if you notice, another person not too long after that was talking about Anthony Joshua, talking about him cycling. He's one of the best cyclists in the world. Don't understand what he meant, but it was cycling off the PEDs out in the Middle East. That was Dillian Whyte. Not too long after that, Dillian Whyte got done as well for what was being done for PEDs as well. Then
so you think Eddie's in the background pulling strings? Like, oh, you talk about my cash cow, I'm gonna get you busted.
No, it's beyond. No, this is bigger than Eddie. This is bigger than Eddie. This is you know, you got the Saudis. This is to do with people who are princes and kings. These are people who have got some serious investment in Anthony Joshua. I mean, who builds a stadium for a fight? One fight. Who does that? So he can regain his crown. And the follow-up of what I'm saying in this is that I met somebody from DAZN. And the guy from DAZN sat down with me and he said to me, we will win the title back. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, we will get those belts back. So the fact that Miller's been caught, I have to also mention that Povetkin's been caught, not once, not twice, 3 times. Not only has he been caught, he's on pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Alexander Povetkin. He's fighting against Dillian Whyte in the UK. How many times did Povetkin get caught?
Yeah.
Luis Ortiz. Didn't he get caught? And he was still fighting?
I think they said that was heart medicine, like heart medication with him.
Yeah. But that was something to cover over the PEDs, right? Heart medication. I don't believe that for 1 second. Nah. So Big Dummy Miller, as far as I'm concerned, people say they're done with Miller, but they should be done as well with Povetkin, done with Luis Ortiz, done with James Toney, done with Roy Jones Jr., done with Evander Holyfield. There's so many fighters we should be done with. Because all of them, all those guys we talk about there have all been accused of PEDs. Do you understand? So I was talking to Ray Mercer only a few days ago. He said he knew Tommy Morrison was on PEDs before he got in the ring with him that night because he saw all the things on his back. So there's so many fighters in boxing that are on PEDs. So many blatantly on it. You know they're on it. They can fight top, they move up weight divisions, but they get stronger as they move up the weight divisions. You're like, really? So I know we're talking about Big Dummy Miller here, but there are other guys as well that should be getting. Look at Canelo. My man says tainted beef. Tainted beef. Man goes for 6 months, comes back, fights in a super fight. 6 months. But you get a guy in England called Liam Cameron. He's been done for what, 4 years? For a little bit of cocaine in the system. Fury gets 2 years. What's going on? So you tell me if we're gonna stick it to Big Dummy Miller, then we should be sticking to Povetkin. And there's no way he should be getting pay-per-view money.
Definitely true. Definitely true. Pal, what's your whole take on this situation?
I agree with Ingram. I think the situation with the drug it depends on where you're at and where you are in the business. So you get caught, you get penalized. We don't need you, but if we still need you, then we're gonna take care of you. And with this PED this drugs and PED, it's been a long time problem. What I'm curious about is what is the our sanctioning body is gonna really do to prevent this, because people are gonna do things in order to get away with it. And I've spoken to a lot of different individuals, not just here in the Philippines. There are fighters that are using it that are not getting caught. And that's everywhere in the world. So that's what I'm concerned about. This guy Miller got caught, but maybe the other guy is doing something as well that's has better formula, or maybe they didn't get caught. So I think for me that's the bigger issue. How do we really ensure that people don't use it, and how because it's really unfair for those other guys that just play it clean. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to something Paulie Malignaggi said. I mean, even with these testing protocols in place with some of the belt organizations, like he said, it's a joke. The year-round testing and all that in between fights, he said it was literally a joke. So, yeah. I mean, Ingram actually made me open my eyes a little bit as far as punishment, because I was like, Malachi, I'm done with them. I mean, ban them, like permanently ban them. But you're right. There's other guys have been caught multiple times, and they've been given their opportunities. I mean, I guess I like Big Baby just because he talks. He's gonna bring some trash to the game, and he makes it entertaining. Just makes you think how long he's actually been doing this, as far as his pro career, considering what he's using, for endurance. That's one of the things he was known for, is his high motor. So has he been doing this the whole time? So it kind of just really makes you wonder, how far along he's been going with this. And, it's sad because he's definitely an entertaining personality. Him and Fury, as far as heavyweights being big trash talkers, you gotta love it. But I mean, the failed test, this is back-to-back too, and I guess this time the punishment will be more harsh because he's actually sanctioned by a state body now, as opposed to the last fight with Joshua. It wasn't sanctioned, or he wasn't licensed yet. So I mean, I imagine the punishment will be a lot worse this time off, and yeah, he's got bigger problems to deal with now because he's got Jay Prince on his neck.
Yo, Jake Prince of Millions is what I read, man. That's but well, that'll go ahead and lead us into our next topic, I guess, which is the August 22nd Mathroom card. There was a few fights on there I'm interested in, but we're going to start off with the fight that I think, in my opinion, was the biggest fight on the card. It's not even going to happen, which is between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. If you've been paying attention to Twitter, there was a Twitter war Sunday. On Twitter, they were going back and forth. Luda Bella jumped on. Eddie Hern was involved. Katie Taylor, now she's tweeted out the last couple times, basically calling Serrano out, telling her, let's get it. So what do you think about them? Pretty much Eddie's saying he's got a binding contract, but they did put out the poster without Amanda on it. You know, a lot of the things that Eddie says you got to take with a grain of salt. We'll start off with Ingram because you are from the UK and you talk a lot about UK boxing. So what do you think of the situation and who do you believe?
Apples and pears, right? Listen, this is the man. I remember him. The three things this man said. He said, right, that there's no way that Fury versus Wilder is going to happen. Even up to the day of the fight, there's no way it's going to happen. So that's him, one. Two, he turned around and said to Stavern, he told everyone he knew the purse bids and how much Stavern was going to make when he was going to fight Povetkin, and the purse bids wasn't even made. He knew that. And then he turned Carl Frumsen and said, you can't win a world title unless you're with us. That's three things that Geezer said, which are untrue. I don't believe anything. Apples and pears with him. I don't believe anything he says. Unless the fight happens, right? I don't believe anything he says. I really don't. Apart from when he talks about fight dates and fights happening and you actually see them walk into the ring. Otherwise, I don't believe him. I don't believe what he says. I don't pay him any attention. In the UK, he's like a celebrity in the UK. Well, a Z-class celebrity. I don't listen to him. I really don't. I can't stand it. So Frank Warren's who I listen to. So because Frank Warren knows how to build a fighter. Eddie's the reason why there's not enough pay-per-view fighters in the UK. So I can't. And his cards, most of his cards are just running guys into getting knocked out. Gets his guys up. They're not ready for world title fights. Says daring to be great. And then they get absolutely destroyed by top-class opposition every time. Most times. So I just get fed up of watching. So that's where I'm at. And he's at the fight in his backyard now. So I mean, that just tells you about the man, doesn't it?
Who did you like in that fight, Ingram?
Fight in your backyard. I mean,
I felt some kind of way about it too.
Lou DeBella called it the plantation. The Mathroom plantation.
It definitely reminds me of some Mandingo fight type stuff from Slavery Days. There's something wrong with it. Like it didn't sit well with me either.
Anthony Joshua was carted off. They said to him after the Black Lives Matter movement thing, he did the thing. They carted him off out of London because he talked too much. They carted him out, pushed him out of the way. Really? I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? I can't support any of their nonsense. Honestly, I'm sorry. I'm a bit off topic, but no, sorry, yeah. No.
Real quick, bringing up the Anthony Joshua. You said they took him out of the UK. I had spoke with somebody from the UK. I don't want to say their name, but they told me that their opinion was that the only reason the announcement for Joshua versus Fury came when it did was Eddie trying to save Joshua's public image, because I know he took a hit over the comments that he made. Do you think that?
Nah, it's because his contracts. Sky will not renew their contract with Eddie Hern because he put such garbage on. That's why. You tell me. Listen, Mathroom they've only had one world champion from scratch, and that was Herbie Hyde. One world champion. All the other guys they've got have been from the Olympic teams, have come through, or top amateur stars, right? And what they don't know how to look after fighters. They threw Kell Brook under a bus, right? Look what they did with Anthony Joshua. Joshua should have fought Trevor Bryan. That was the fight that was meant to happen. Instead, they went and stuck and put Joshua in with Ruiz, and you saw what happened. So it's garbage, and what you're watching for the most part is garbage with Mathroom. Garbage, absolute garbage, and only dark chuckers really watch that stuff. It's what it is, honestly. I mean, if you've got any sort of pride about your boxing, you don't watch that garbage. So we said, "Oh, there's a Mathroom show," and I said, "That's fine." Karen playing Fortnite. That's garbage. You know it's garbage. Everyone in this room knows it's garbage, but we have to talk about it because, it's there, but it's garbage. I mean, those fights you go, "Yeah, that's a great fight. Let's get all the mates round. Let's sit down and tuck into this real great fight." You're not thinking that, it's another fight, and yeah, we've got to talk about it because it's on, and we're desperate for boxing. It's garbage. Sorry, guys. I just got to call it as it is. I can't watch it.
It's sad because the one fight, I'm interested in Whyte and Povetkin. I like Bakole as a prospect, so I'm interested in that fight with Kuzmin. But the one fight I was really 100% invested in
Serrano.
was Katie Taylor versus Serrano.
Yeah, because you want to see Katie Taylor get beat because she got beat by Pearson. That's why you want to see that fight. Because you want to see Katie Taylor get beat. You want justice. That's the only reason why you want to watch that fight. Because you know Katie Taylor should be champion today. That's the only reason why you want to watch that fight. To see Katie Taylor get beat. Don't tell me you're a Katie Taylor fan, because I know you're not.
I think I said last night on your live that I would take Serrano. Amanda. I'd take Amanda. Amanda's a 7-division champion, but there are some things about her resume you can nitpick and break down with her resume. But I still think she's a better fighter than Katie Taylor than what we've seen lately from Katie Taylor. Because when Katie Taylor first popped on the scene out of the Olympics, now that again, that a lot of that, like you said, is putting the right person in front of her. But she looked like a world beater.
Bro, part-time police officer. You are from the Olympics, and you're a part-time police officer who had to get funding to fight you, kick your ass in America.
Yeah,
bro. Jessica McCaskill, my girl, gave her life and death. McCaskill's no Olympic star, but she's a damn good-hearted fighter. Has moved up in weight and is a unified champion now, and now going to fight Cecilia Brækhus. But come on, a part-time police officer kicking the ass of an Olympic champion and world champion. What is the world coming to? I mean,
Pal, you wanna talk about this fight and what do you think? What do you think of Katie Taylor as a fighter, as a world champion?
Here's what I would like to talk about. First of all, let me be honest. I'm not too familiar with UK boxing. Before this podcast, when you sent me the list of topics, I went to Matchroom Boxing. I was ready to subscribe to Fight Pass to learn more about it. But after Ingram, all of those speeches with the trash and the garbage, I'm not sure now if I'm going to buy that Fight Pass.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as
you look like you're the show. You're the star of the show.
Wait, the top of the bill, Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin, right? That is a dangerous fight for Dillian Whyte. That's probably the best fighter Dillian Whyte would have fought in his whole career, apart from possibly Anthony Joshua, because of the Olympic pedigree that Povetkin's got.
I think the fight between Bakole and Kuzmin, there's two prospects. That's a good fight.
Did you see what Michael Hunter did to Bakole? Do you remember what Michael Hunter did to Bakole?
It took him 10 rounds. It took him 10 rounds to get him out of there.
Do you remember what he did? That's what you call taking a man apart systematically. If you wanted to get like a 101 on how to take a guy apart, that is the fight. Systematically take a man apart.
But Bakole's undefeated since that fight.
Yeah, and who's he fought since that fight? Tell me. Run the names off for me without going.
My mic's not working, bro.
Listen, and I love Martin. That's my boy. We've got to call it for what it is. And who's Kuzmin? Did Michael Hunter beat him up? Did two Michael Hunters left over?
They both lost to Michael Hunter.
That's what I'm saying. It's the Michael Hunter left
But
over.
losing to Michael Hunter has proven not to be that. I mean, ever since he lost to Usyk. Didn't he get a draw with Povetkin? If I'm right, they got a draw on that, right?
Yeah.
He's proven to be a very good heavyweight prospect.
Yeah, he is. But what I'm saying is, you're saying the second best showing of night that you're looking forward to seeing is a guy that's fought a guy with two leftovers. The guy is beating both the guys up. That's what you're tuning in to see on a pay-per-view show. Two guys that got beat up by the same guy.
But that's the main event. That's the main event too. The main event is Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin. Both of them been stopped by Anthony Joshua.
Bro, that's what you're paying your hard-earned money for. That is
it's a good opening fight, support fight, but I don't know if I would be paying pay-per-view for it.
All right. Okay.
I mean, there's definitely two guys that are on the fringe of being labeled, I don't know, contenders. I can't even say that. I wouldn't label that, but they're fringe contenders. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it puts them in a level to where they could get those big fights like the Hunter again. But, I mean, it's not necessarily something I want to see, on pay-per-view.
Contenders. What they're contending. French contenders. They must be contending for something. What are they contending for?
On the fringe of being that, being up there with that next level of guys, contenders
to have a rematch against Michael Hunter.
No, or it's gonna be maybe even a Chisora or even a Hunter. A Hunter, a rematch against Hunter or Chisora.
Chisora 10 losses.
But he's fighting for but he's in title contendership right now.
He's fighting Usyk, right?
Say that again.
Chisora's fighting Usyk, right?
Yeah, he's fighting Usyk.
Yeah.
There's people that question whether or not Usyk is a viable heavyweight.
You have to ask yourself the question. Look at Usyk's last 3 fights. He got outboxed by Tony Bellew before he got knocked out. He had a difficult fight against Miles Breeders, who's a good fighter. And then he got clipped by Chaz Witherspoon, who I don't know where Chaz Witherspoon was doing, right? I don't know where he was, where he came from, right? They must have pulled him out of the crowd. He got clipped. Usyk got clipped by him. And then Usyk was like, it's like he fought like Mike Tyson, the way he was fighting Chaz Witherspoon. He didn't want to engage. I mean, this is a guy that we're talking about is the next big thing in heavyweight boxing. Who's getting outboxed by Tony Bellew? The guy, and I like Usyk as well. But you're the former undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. The first fight you have is Chaz Witherspoon.
Hey, pal, you want to jump in here and talk about? You want to talk about this card at all?
I'm just enjoying myself. Honestly, I'm just enjoying myself. I like Ingram. You should add me on Facebook, my man. I should learn a lot more about heavyweight.
Sorry, don't talk with me.
I know these things, but
it
will make me sound like foolish if I add something that you know.
No, bro, listen. I'm just old school, right? Like, pay-per-view was like, wait,
I like you though. I love you.
That is pay-per-view, right? Holyfield fighting Tyson, Hagler fighting Hearns, Lewis versus Tyson. Even Tyson was old. Those are pay-per-view fights. Undisputed championship of the world. That's pay-per-view. Don't tell me Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin and the chief support. The chief support is Kuzmin versus Bakole. Come on.
Is it Congo fighting on that card too? I think Congo's a good fighter.
Bro, Chris Conger's a good guy, but I mean, God, it's that pay-per-view. Seriously, have we lowered our standards so much in boxing that we call that pay-per-view unacceptable?
Well, I mean, you got to think UK pay-per-view is different than here in the States too. Like, you know, they charge an arm and a leg over here. I mean, UK, I'm pretty sure is not the same. Like, what's a UK pay-per-view cost over there for a Mathroom for Sky Sports?
Bro. Before we even get to pay-per-view, we've got to pay for the actual satellite. We've got to pay for the satellite first. So on top of the satellite we're paying for and the channels we get on the satellite, on top of that, you've got to pay your pay-per-view.
Yeah, same thing here, but it's just an outlandish price. I mean, we're talking $70 to $90.
Yeah, from what I understand, y'all are paying like $20 a pay-per-view over there.
Yeah, but you got to pay for Sky as well to get the Sky Sports to be able to watch the pay-per-views.
Okay,
Fair enough.
That's good enough.
No, I'm sorry, I cannot defend it. Tell me just regular boxing on TV, sure, fine, okay.
So with Taylor and Serrano, would you still wouldn't rule it as a pay-per-view card if that was actually
now Taylor Serrano, yeah, I'd say that because obviously you got that's a super fight there. You got a 7-weight.
Too harsh. You should give Mathroom a pass because this is just the first one, right?
Which one's that one?
I think he was asking, is this the first card on the pass, their Mathroom pass?
I don't know. Maybe so. I don't know. I know. I saw the list of the fights, and I just saw Dillian Whyte, and I saw Serrano, and I just thought, okay, fine, that's it. I'll get a link and watch it, something like that. Watch it, the replay the next morning.
So Ingram, let me ask you this, since you're over there. You hear anything as far as possible litigation as far as this with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor fight?
I heard. I did a show last night on it, and last thing I saw, Katie and Serrano says, "I've got a very good lawyer." That's why I saw. That was it. So that's all the thing. Just try and steal Serrano from DeBella and move her over to Mathroom. That's what I think the plan is.
So we already know you don't think much of the card, but what do you think about the Dillian Whyte Povetkin fight? Who you got winning that fight and why?
I think it's a dangerous fight for Dillian Whyte. The difference between Oscar Rivas and Joseph Parker, if Povetkin catches him, that is goodbye to WBC position. And if he gets knocked out by Povetkin, that is the end of Dillian Whyte. They'll shut the door and he won't get a world title fight ever again. No chance. No. So it's a dangerous fight. That's the best fight Dillian Whyte is going to be fighting in his career. Olympic gold medalist, genuine Olympic gold medalist, a former world champion. Povetkin fights in short bursts, but when he does, and he gets up close, he lets them left hooks go. He's very dangerous. And Dillian Whyte, in recent times, he's been dropped twice against Oscar Rivas and against Joseph Parker late on in the fight. And if he gets clipped by Povetkin, as I said, it's the wrong guy to get clipped by. As you've seen, he can still finish. So it's a dangerous fight. It's how much Povetkin's got left after the Hunter fight. That's what I want to know. And I can't really tell you based on that.
Yeah, that's what I took Dillian Whyte. We had already discussed this fight. I don't know if Twine wants to, because we are getting close to our time. I don't know if he wants to go into it. But I took Dillian Whyte. But I did bring up the fact, the guy from Colombia before the kid from Poland he just fought, he dropped him in the 9th round. And as we already talked about, the kid from Poland, he got knocked out by both Bakole and Miller. So he went the distance with Whyte. So I used to be a little higher on Whyte. I've never been high on Povetkin when it comes to beating the elite fighters, but I'm not sure that Dillian Whyte is an elite fighter anymore. So this fight's going to be a good gauge for me on whether or not Dillian Whyte, we already seen him get knocked out by Anthony Joshua. And I know he keeps pushing for that rematch. I don't really want to see that rematch. I'd rather see him, if he could get past Povetkin, let me see him fight Fury. It'll be an easy fight for Fury too.
My boy's training him at the moment, Xavier Miller, and he's a damn good trainer. So he will give Dillian Whyte, and they've been working in Portugal for a while. So he'll give Dillian Whyte things and tools, how to fight on the inside better and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how much Xavier's added to Dillian Whyte's toolbox when they fight. So Xavier Miller's, he's British, but he's got a lot of American background in terms of his training style. A lot of slipping, moving, countering sort of stuff. So he'll add, hopefully he'll add those things, those dimensions to Dillian against Povetkin. I don't want to see him box Povetkin because he can't outbox Povetkin.
Well, I mean, we've seen Dillian employ different styles where he's been the banger. You know, he's tried to be the banger in fights. You know, Parker. And then we've seen him get banged on in fights like Chisora, who I thought was winning both of those fights. Won the first one and was winning the second one easily to me.
He was up on the cars.
Yeah, but that second fight, I said that when he'd walk onto Dillian Whyte's left hook. It's one thing Whyte has got is that left hook. Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like he's got the puncher's chance against Povetkin. I don't think he's gonna outbox him. I think Povetkin's crafty enough to keep Dillian Whyte from bullying him. So I think this is definitely a tough fight for him. Dillian Whyte is one of those guys, like he's put together a nice string of wins, but like he's never looked the part to me. You know, like I said with Joshua Greer before, like Dillian Whyte just doesn't look the part of a heavyweight champ to me. So I kind of feel like I'm kind of going with the upset here with Povetkin.
Yeah, dangerous fight.
Age factor.
I think Pal had to go. Oh, there he is. He's back. But it's about time for us to go. Pal, good to see you back again. Do you have anything you want to add before we go?
Yeah, I'm just very entertained with our show today. Thanks, Ingram, for entertaining me and giving me some points about the UK boxing. So from now on, I'll be ready with learning more about the garbage of the show that you said. I hope Eddie Hern is not watching because we'll not get a media pass there.
Yeah.
After this
media pass, I don't get Christmas cards or anything like that from him, so it's okay.
Okay.
All right. Before we go, I want to announce Pal will be returning Wednesday. Which will be Thursday, his day. So it's always confusing when I tell him that. But he'll be coming back Wednesday with me, and we'll have a show with 2K to God. We're going to spend a show talking about the little guys. We're going to go over some the Albert Bell fight. He's fighting a kid from the Philippines. I seen your interview with him too. That was a great interview, pal.
I'll be more talkative the next episode. I know more about the little guys than the big guys that we talked about today. So yeah.
But we'll be back on. And Ingram, as always, it's great having you on. Hope to get you back on again. Last time you were sick. I'm glad to see you're feeling much better than what you were telling me that day.
Absolutely. I'm always getting animated.
So really appreciate you coming on, pal. Really appreciate you coming on. And Twine, I'm going to let you close out the show.
All right. Yeah, we'll take a break. Well, like you said, they'll be back on Wednesday doing their show. And the little guys, hopefully you guys talk some the Casemiro monster fight because I'd be interested in hearing that one. And as far as me and Malachi, we'll be back on July 10th with Mark Mexayo.
Now, Pal, did you say you were coming on that day? Does he need an interpreter?
I think he can speak, but I can come. I can try. Actually, after this, I have a conversation with Mark. So I don't know if he announced already, but he's flying on the 1st of July.
Yeah, that's what he told me. I want one of them. Have you seen them white and black T-shirts he's got?
Yeah,
those are amazing. I told him I wanted one, and he's gonna wait till he gets into LA on the 1st to I'm gonna pay him. He's gonna send me one. Also, piggybacking on what Twine says, we will be back July the 10th with the interview with Mark Mexayo. On July the 17th, I have secured an interview with a very good prospect from the UK, Amy Timlin. I've caught her. She is a excellent fighter. I don't think I've sent you any of her stuff yet, Twine, but I'm going to do that. She's a good fighter. I expect big things from her. We have secured an interview. We just got to get the day with the great Robert Garcia. So he's going to come on and talk with us. And then I have reached out to Junior Lopez again, and he's agreed tentatively to come on in July. If he can't come on in July, hopefully he'll come on in the beginning of September before their fight with Lomachenko. So I want to thank everybody who's been watching the show and supporting us and supporting Danger Zone Boxing Talk for all these years that we've been going. And I just want to give everybody a salute. Thank you guys for coming on. And that's our show for tonight, and we're out.